And good evening once again, everybody. So welcome into our second race here of the evening, and yet another really, really big matchup here. So let me flip this on over and let me explain a few things. So on the left-hand side, we got 13-0 Slackaholicus taking on the right. At the moment, 8-5, looking to tie himself up with Wolf and technically move ahead for that 6th playoff spot if he can pull the win out here, Mr. Deathstar175. So again, big matchup right now. Slack can pull out his 14th victory of the season if he were to get this one. And again, he is still undefeated. Deathstar needs this one, again, to tie himself up and thusly, because the tiebreakers, move ahead of Wolf in the playoff standings. So we're down to the nitty-gritty, and it's really important from here on out. It has been all season, but this really shows you where. So what we're going to do is a best 2 out of 3 race through the womb 2. Whoever kills off Mom's Heart first gets a point where you see the zeros, and we'll reset both racers at that point back to square one. So they're both using Isaac, both have the D6 unlocked, both have the exact same save file for that matter, which is Platinum God. They're off and running, so again, best of luck, guys. Let me get you a link into both of their channels. And yeah, I was going to say, that's probably a restart on Slack's side. He doesn't want just health up, he wants some form of damage. Again, there's a link into both of their channels. Say what's up to them both. We're going to race through the womb 2. Again, 7 banned items on the way down. So, I'm going to link these out for you as well. Dr. Fetus, Epic Fetus, Ipecac, Dead Sea Scrolls, Holy Bible, the Shovel, and the toothpicks are on the list, are the only items that can be rerolled. Everything else is take it or leave it. Like, again, you saw Deathstar picked up Anarchist Cookbook, which will be random bomb spawns. We got Sad Onion for Slackaholicus, which is going to, as you notice, his arrows up at the top now have double tiers up there. So he's firing out much faster than he was before. So again, good start on, well, technically both sides. You can see sometimes Anarchist Cookbook helps you out. Let's see if it does here. Again, those random spawns. Actually, yes, it did. How about one hitting a boss? And there's that fist pump by Deathstar. Very nice. Squeezy will give him a fire rate increase, 2 soul hearts, and he'll be the first on down to basement 2. So let's see, speaking of those, let's also get a real quick judgy, please. Slack's got plenty of money, and he's in that curse room, so where can we get out of here? This ought to be a nice item if one does show up. Or a little bit of health up. He's not really going to complain about it. 2 hearts will double up the amount of red heart that he has filling up his containers as well at some point. So Slack will hang on to that for a heal later. Yep, them fist pumps. And again, we'll get to reasons why on any of those banned items should we come across them as to why they're banned within the league. They all got voted on by the racers, though, so before anybody's like, oh, Crumbs just doesn't want to see overpowered items, it's actually the racers voted on each of these. And each one was a unanimous decision. How about another judgy card? And I was going to say, I do believe Slack's going to use that back in that curse room again. So back on over here to this curse room. Slack will take a bit more damage, but he's really hoping for something good out of that judgy. So let's get yet another judgy, please, if you would. And again, we got Deathstar finishing off his second boss fight here for the basement. So Widow just about dead. Again, he came across this first, so we'll see what he does. Ooh, how about Horror Babylon? Interesting one. Notice that effect went away. You have to be at 1/2 a red heart or less on Slack's side to have that permanently enacted. So not quite useful of now, but that could come in handy later. Again, Deathstar picking up that, excuse me again, sorry about the Magic 8 Ball, which is a mismarked item. Again, that just gives you shot speed increase. Gave him a card too. The Fool would take you back to the entrance room of whatever floor you use that on. And again, let's see. Slack also has Eve's Birdfoot, which will spawn Eve's Dead Bird randomly when you take damage. And to answer your question, we've seen it a few times this year. If you have the actual bird itself, yes, both can be in the room at the same time. Alright, Telepathy for Dummies, nothing too special there. Would be homing shots for the room that Slack used it in, so he's leaving that behind in favor of moving on here. Again, Pushpin that he's also leaving behind would have replaced Eve's Birdfoot and given him a random chance of having a Spectral tier that also has piercing ability on it. Yep, Starfire actually described why Slack was using the Judgment card where he did. Basically takes from God Room items, and believe it, as you just saw there, it got a lot of health up out of it as well. So basically also gives you some of the boss items. Alright, Maggie's Faith. Every time you get to a new floor now as Deathstar, that's going to spawn half an Eternal Heart for him. Again, if you can keep that until the next floor, or get a second one on the same floor that you're on, you're going to wind up with a full red health container increase. Slack finally coming across this boss fight here. A couple extra bombs. Finally has 2 on his side. And he's going to get Famine. So let's all greet this horseman the way he does to us. And give him a nice little... if you would. So Slack will wind up with a cube of meat orbiting around that'll block shots and do base damage tiers times 2, so 7 damage to anything it comes in contact with. Trinkets, from what I can tell, it's just, except for when you get the guaranteed spawn of trinkets, like let's say that you take out Edmund and Florian's mini-boss, you're going to get the left hand, or you take out Mom's foot and you're going to wind up getting the Polaroid. Other than that, it's basically like just random out of the entire pool of trinkets, if I'm not mistaken. Deathstar picking up Crack the Sky, random, again, random beams of light going to shoot out around the room. Anything that hits them will take a pretty decent chunk of damage from it, too. We've seen people like Logcat actually do a good 80% damage to Mom's foot using that. So it comes in very handy sometimes. Again, it is random, though, so you may not get much out of it. Again, speaking of random, not going to be a random item this time in this Devil deal. Slack going to get a guaranteed lump of coal, a cube of coal. Let's try that again. We got a lump of meat and a cube of coal for Slack. Backwards, dyslexia 4 cure found. What I meant was he's going to get a lump of coal at the end of this Krampus fight, which as the shots travel on screen longer and further, are going to grow in size and damage output. Again, we got Deathstar down at that last half a heart on his side, working on Peep at the moment. There's that lump of coal. And again, Slack will be on down to his Caves 1 himself. Ooh, make that Caves XL as he gets a Curse of the Labyrinth. Ooh. And this is going to really turn things around. Slack just picked up Polyphemus in his first of what will be 2 item rooms here on this floor. So notice his tier size now. He's got a lot more damage increase because of that. The damage has come from Polyphemus, not from Lump of Coal. I'd like to point this out. That is a really good combo, though. And again, Deathstar died in that room, so Peep taking yet another life here. Deathstar back to the beginning, and he's really going to have to play some catch-up now against Slack with that build he's got. Alright, Mom's Pearl, more chance now of Soul Heart spawning. I think it's 10% more chance, if I'm not mistaken, for Slack off of that trinket. And again, we got the Virus after that lust fight for for Deathstar on the right side. Now I'm naming people wrong. That's going to be Poison Touch. Anything that hits Deathstar will take a poison damage over time added onto him. Yeah, watch, now he gets Brimstone. Alright, Spoonbender, homing shots now permanently on Deathstar's side. And again, he's just looking for that boss fight, which he just came across at the bottom here to finish off his first floor. And again, you can see Slack working on this XL floor. He's got Caves 1 and Caves 2 combined together. Still just, in this case, this one arcade down there. You can't have a chance at 2. There is just 1 store, 1 secret room, 1 super secret room, but 2 item rooms spread out across the floor. And when you come across your boss fights, there's 2 side by side. So that could be a lot of time savers. Slack may be happy enough to skip over another item here. Or his first item, I should say here. Again, with no key, even if he comes across that item room, can't get into it yet. Yeah, it's either 10 or 20%. It's one of the two, and I can never keep the percentages straight on everything. There's so many items and trinkets and stuff. Alright, so Death getting a little bit of health up, moving on down to his basement too. Excuse me. Again, keeping about a full floor differential, a little bit over that between the two of these guys. And nothing happens with Lump of Coal and Mom's Knife. There's that second item room we were talking about. No key for Slack at the moment. And speaking of item rooms, Deathstar also finding his here on basement too. And gonna wind up with Little Chad, so that'll spawn half a red heart every couple rooms that Deathstar finishes off. Again, not really the greatest thing to start off with here, but he'll take it. Alright, missing page trinket on Deathstar's side. 5% chance that if you get hit that you wind up with a death card usage. There's Guppy's Paw finally showing up too. But again, that'll damage everything in the room for a pretty darn good clip. Deathstar going to use up what he had there. Notice he had empty heart containers. Those still count, and will turn each of those into 3 blue soul hearts every time you use Guppy's Paw. And again, he's 1/3 of the way towards Guppy as well. And there's those 2 boss fights. Slack still no key for that item room, so moving on in, gonna fight Peep, same one that you just saw take out Deathstar. Again, slightly different build going on here. He's gonna stay at the far side of the room and let his damage increase from Cole do some work for him. And Death working on the last quarter or so health of his boss fight here with Gemini. So he'll quickly be onto the caves himself, but second boss fight for the caves going to come right after this for Slack. So time advantage for Slackaholicus on the left side. Ooh, taking a cheap shot there, but a little bit more health up. There comes the second boss fight. Speaking of health up, we also got stem cells on Deathstars. That also has, along with the health up, a shot speed increase with it. And we've been talking about the Fallen pretty much all night, as this is, I think, the 4th time he's shown up now. In 2 races, might I add. But Fallen guaranteed Devil Deal item free of charge for you at the end of this. Only thing you have to be careful about in the league is one of those items in that pool is the shovel. So if that does show up, you have to be very careful for it not to spawn underneath you. And Deathstar immediately finding his boss fights here before his item room, so we'll see what he chooses to do timing-wise. Ooh, and speaking of Guppy items, how about Guppy's head here for Slack? Also getting a Devil Deal out of this, so he's going to spawn... Oh, speaking of that shovel, Slack does get to reroll this, but he's going to take a second Guppy item in Guppy's paw. And that only cost him his soul hearts, so he's going to get those right back. Notice he's going to use up pretty much all of these. Oh my god! Well, let's see those Spazno shovels, which Slack gets to re-roll. Again, that would have given you a way down to the next floor every couple of rooms. Every 6 rooms that would recharge. But you get to re-roll those banned items. Slack does that, and it turns into a 1 heart cost knife. So, wow, that re-roll. Oh my. Polyphemus knife now for Slackaholicus, and nothing but blue soul hearts. Again, he took Guppy's head with him. That's spawning those attack flies for him as well. So, lots of damage output for Slack. Yep, he's got Poly Knife. Yes, he does. Diana. Yep, and at the moment, Perma Horror Babylon as well, because he used up every one of his red hearts. I forgot that he actually got that earlier on. So Perma Horror Babylon means more damage up for Slack because he has no red heart containers, meaning he's under 1 full red heart at the moment. So notice, by the way, those flies control you into moving your bombs on you, so you do have to be kind of careful of this. So right now, Deathstar really looking for a way to, like, if he can find 2 more Guppy items, he'll do whatever he can to get those at this point. Oh no, Slack learned the Lawcat Wiggle, didn't he? Oh boy. The Lawcat Wiggle is making its way around the league. Wow. So even more damage up. Slack gonna leave it behind, though, because that would have given him a red heart and taken his damage back down because of Horror Babylon. So leaving behind that red health, very good choice on Slack's side. He's also gonna wind up with a Polaroid at the end of what is now his Depths 2. So leave behind that Samson's Lock. Boy, I can name things. Again, he's just hoping to get more Soul Heart spawns. Why he's keeping that Mom's Pearl at the moment. And yet another immediate item room here. Slack gonna get his last item. And Mom's Bra actually very useful, especially with the knife combination. That's kind of a decision, but Mom's Bra it is. That'll freeze enemies in place. And, oh, well, man, tough call. Ooh, and it did have a charge on it. I guess I might as well use it there. Ooh, Slack is gonna take Guppy's head. So here's where Guppy's head kind of backfires. It'll go after enemies that it can't actually hit sometimes. Again, Mom's Bra would have frozen everything in place, so against boss fights, he's gonna kill him quickly anyways. But against, let's say, Mom's Heart, he could have kept it out the entire fight and just went boom, 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 killed it instantly. But yeah, those Guppy's flies are wrecking, like Haku said. Think about the damage multiplier on those, because if I'm not mistaken, it's 2-point-something damage multiplier. And he's already got Polyphemus Knife, so those flies are wrecking right now. Hence why he took it with him, and again, I don't blame him, and it's a tough call, but he's doing some fierce damage with that knife already. He doesn't need the freeze effect. I'd rather take the flies and just have it be that much easier. So I love his choice. And yeah, that was a beautiful bomb on Death's side there. Got to agree, and he's making good time. He's in Depths 1 at the moment, and again, not that far behind, especially given the build that Slackaholicus is working with here. So Death making some phenomenal time. Still holding Guppy's paw himself, and technically speaking, 9 soul hearts sitting there waiting for him. And again, Slack right on in. Red Mom's fight. Look at this. She didn't even get to stop her foot with Red Mom. Oh my god. The damage. So now Slack also has Polaroid, which means if he gets hit, I should say, automatic 5-second damage shield every single time, just like you saw right there. That'll circle around him, making him invincible. Alright, Empress card. He's already got Horror Babylon active, but would give him the Horror Babylon activation, so that's interesting. I don't know if that doubles or not. We didn't actually test that. I never thought to do it. Again, there you see Deathstar when he was down to half a heart, decided to use that Guppy's Paw, gave himself 3 soul hearts out of one of his empty red heart containers. Yeah, no kidding, Drunk Man. Like, seriously, that build, man. Like, oh, let's just add on more damage any way we can. Those flies are just ludicrously overpowered right now for him, too. And again, every room Guppy's head recharges, so even more flies every single room. And he doesn't even need them. So there's that 1-1 boss fight. He cleared a lot of rooms, but did it in such a quick fashion that I wasn't even catching it. How about Teratoma? Melty, melty, melty. Couple more of these to take care of. By the way, don't actually throw your knife when you got these, unless you know what you're doing, like that with Slack. But don't actually throw your knife against those spiders. It actually comes in very handy. Nothing to get by in the Devil deal. Slack will be on down to the womb too, and again, looking for a 1-0 lead here. As Deathstar back on Depths 1 was making dang good time, and still is, but he doesn't have a Polyphemus Horror Babylon knife active at all times, so it's a slight damage differential, as you noticed. Only slightly. Oh, wow. And directly on over, how about that internal compass by Slack, just adding on even more time. Wow. Okay. And again, this is why we didn't have to worry too much about the freeze effect on Mom's heart. Notice how I didn't even get to say that he was fighting what could be the really quick 1-0 lead boss fight there. Yeah, he literally walked in and melted it. 1-0 lead for Slackaholicus. And yeah, Deathstar, I could just see the look on his face like, well, that happened. That was a thing. Thanks, RNGesus. You're my friend. I prayed to you yesterday, and you're letting me down, sir. I'm hurt by this. Seriously, where were the items for Deathstar, man? Where were these things? So again, that ridiculous Polyphemus. Cole did nothing for him, mind you, after he got the knife, but Polyphemus, Horror of Babylon, constantly on Slack's side. That is ludicrous with that build. So 1-0 lead, and if you blinked, you missed him kill Mom's heart. That's how fast it was. So 1-0 lead. Slack gonna look to move to 14-0 on the season, keep that undefeated streak going. And again, Deathstar gonna look for 2 back-to-back wins. Needs these very badly to tie himself up with Wolf for that 6th spot in the NFC playoff picture. We'll be right back in about 2 minutes. We'll get round number 2 underway, and we'll see who can pull this one out. So again, let me get you a link in at both of their channels. And again, go say what's up to both of these guys. Tell them both great race. And if you blinked it, ask Slack to recap that Mom's Heart fight for you. But go meet both of our racers. I'll be right back in about 2 minutes. We'll get round number 2 underway, guys. Alrighty, we're back. We got round number 2 just about to begin here as I slam my spoon into my plate because that works out well. Let me flip this back on over. And as you can see, we got a 1-0 lead right now for Slackaholicus over Deathstar175. And again, let me point out the implications here. We're both going to race through the womb too once again. They both. I keep saying we like I'm one of them. They are both going to race through the womb too again. Same rules apply. And again, if Slack pulls out one of the next 2 victories, he moves himself to 14-0 on the season. He's already got his division wrapped up. The important part here is that Deathstar needs back-to-backers at this point, and he's breathing heavy like, I can do this, I can do this, I know I got this, I totally got this. Looking to end Slack's undefeated streak, but more importantly for him, needs the win so that he moves ahead of Wolven into that 6th spot in the playoffs in the NFC again, and that is huge at the moment because he has got some nasty races left this season. So nothing is guaranteed. They're both off and running. Best of luck, guys. Again, there is a lot of random involved in this game. And on that note, Slack getting a pretty good RNG start to this one with Daddy Longlegs. Notice that leg dropping down out of the sky. The shadow shows you where it's at. That will not damage you, but does a pretty decent amount of damage to anything that pops down onto. So quick kills of a lot of enemies and a lot of damage on boss fights. And again, there's that split link that'll get you into both Slack and Deathstar's channels. Please hit both of these guys up. Give them both some big support, guys. I would appreciate the hell out of it if you would. Ooh, we got 2 good items here. Deathstar with that fist pump has got pinking shears. That'll cut your head off from your body. The body's going to run around the room, spew out blood, and damage anything that it hits. So watch this against the boss fight. Unless it's pinned. Okay, we're good. So watch this. The body's going to run around and do some ridiculously good damage to Pink Widow here. So very quick boss fights on both sides. Slack first on down to his basement 2. He's got Cellar again, the expansion version. Got some pills for Deathstar. And let's see what we happen across. 2 tear rate down, so fire rate dropping. Bad gas drops a poison bomb around you, and he'll hang on to the other one to see what it is later. Daddy Longlegs is unlocked from... what's the name of the challenge, guys? Somebody help me with this. I know the one, I can't think of what it is. I'm terrible. Purist, thank you. Jeez. Could not, and it's a terrible challenge, by the way. And it's an okay item, but you would expect something like ridiculously overpowered to come out of it. Again, it's a great item, but for finishing off the Purist challenge, I was hoping for something better. Alright, Slack gonna get that free entrance, technically speaking, using up 2 bombs instead of 1 key, but he'll get himself into the item room here. And that Razor Blade. Again, this will stack on top of itself, but that ups your damage. It damages you to up your damage output for the room that you're in. Oh, there's a couple ways to make the Purist run real easy. Keep resetting and going into your secret rooms until you find Doctor or Epic Fetus. Go from there. You'll make that run a lot easier that way, trust me. Alright, a little bit of health increase, and again, shot speed increase that isn't shown on there, and it's minimal, but it's there with the stem cells for Slack. He'll be moving on down to the caves, and again, an expansion version Catacombs of the Floor. And again, Hourglass going to get left behind on Deathstar's side, would have slowed down time, and also the shot speed of anything in the room. Again, it plays a little bit trolly on you, though. It actually doubles up the amount of shots on some of the enemies, so you have to be very careful with it. And again, nowhere near as good as the pinking shears, so that's going to go on with that. He'll use that here against the second boss fight. Ooh, maybe he won't even need to. Oh, there's the trolling portion. Oh, wow, that actually worked out okay. So, here's the trolling portion of that particular body. It'll move bombs on you, and in that case, happened to move it right into line with pins, so that still worked out beautifully for Deathstar. He also got the pentagram there, so a little bit of damage increase, and it said that it ups your curse level, hence maybe more God Rooms for the rest of the run. Or, Devil Deals, I should say, for the rest of the run, excuse me. Mom's Broad, for the second time this race, going to get left behind. And again, that would have frozen enemies in place for a good 7 seconds. Deathstar would much rather have that damage output from pinking shears, though. Let alone the flying capability if you need it every 3 rooms. Far too useful. And very nice job dodging those homing shots. Again, you notice once the door opens, you can leave that fly behind. You can dance if you want to. You can leave that fly behind. I'm sorry, terrible music references, but it had to be done. Ooh, nice dodge there on Deathstar's side. I hate these bullet hell rooms, especially with those champion mobs. The one that Deathstar took out first was a champion level mob. It would have hit him for a full heart of damage instead of just half. Ooh, an interesting one. This brings up another good point. So, Kamikaze was the item there in Slackaholicus' room. Real quick, let's get a 3-cent judgy, please, for Slack. Come on, something. Look at that. He actually did it. How about Chemical Peel? So that makes up for leaving the item behind. So a little bit of damage up. Notice half of Slack's tiers have now turned red. He gets damage increase just on those. Excuse me. No problem. I do what I can. I do what I can with the musical references, guys. Love ya. Right about now, you all hate me, but love ya. On that note, where was I going with this? Kamikaze was the item then in Slack's room. He left it behind, and again, the glitch with Kamikaze is allowed. Very few glitches are allowed in the league. They have to have a risk involved with them. And Kamikaze normally turns you into a bomb and damages you. If you're hugging a wall correctly, though, and I do mean like hugging the wall, you don't take damage while you use it. The risk involved with that is if you accidentally do it where you open up a door, whether that be a legitimate door or a secret or super secret room, you're going to take damage unless you are on literally one specific tile, and you have to be right on it. So, we allow the glitch to happen. It's killed all but 2 of our racers so far this year that have tried to utilize it. So again, there's a risk involved. We allow it. Otherwise, if it's just a glitch that, nothing is scary about it and it's just like pure damage increase for you, we outlawed it just for that. Like we wanted to have, I don't want to say it's not skill to be able to do it, because it is. But at the same point, you know what I mean? Like it's, if it doesn't have a risk involved with it, it's kind of more cheating at this point in the race situation. So we outlawed most of them just because of that. Again, Kamikaze got left behind, so moot point here, but figured I'd explain that for everyone. And again, we got little Chad just about to show up here. If Deathstar can get through this, it gets way faster with Chad. When you start hitting him, notice he got a lot smaller throughout this fight. He moves a lot faster too. Golden Key, notice now Slack doesn't even need keys to get into his item rooms. Blood Rights, another interesting one. This will also damage Slack, but this time going to do a mass amount of damage. I believe it was 40 damage per use to everything in the room. So, oof, that dodge on Deathstar's side. I thought he was done there. He's going to probably... Oh, God, that was close. I was going to say probably go for that red heart, and wow, did that get close, man. Speaking of that, we got Slack playing against, Pink Carrion Queen, which, as I was just saying, we got red heart spawning every now and then. That was, but okay. Either way, so you take out those red hearts, and as you notice, Carrion Queen just died on the other side of the room. A little bit of health up for Slack, and he'll be moving on down to his steps. So full floor lead at this point. Ooh, also getting a loading screen error, so let's wait this out. Come on, Flash. Any day now. Oop, wait for it. Again, don't worry about any of this stuff. Flash does stupid things, especially as you get later on, but this will pop on through in a second or two. For real, it'll pop on through in a second or two. It may loop Slack again, which would be terrible, but this has happened before. It'll happen again. This is just one of the things you gotta deal with Flash, and it happens to everybody randomly. So it's just like getting a couple extra rooms. There we go. Now we're popping on through. So Necropolis, the expansion version of the floor, nothing else special about this one, though. Now, guys, Flash hasn't crashed once, so, and that goes for the thousands of hours that all of us have played put together, which I think we did the math and we were somewhere around like 30-some-odd thousand hours, if not more. So between those 30,000 hours played, not one of us has had Isaac crash on us during that, so I wouldn't worry about it. Even if it tells you that Macromedia Flash crashed, hit the no button and say you don't care about it, literally it will pop up your floor instantaneously. I'm not joking, that is not a troll. Literally, it works. I swear it. So not once has it crashed. Ooh, this is working out nicely. Deathstar with that curved horn going to replace his trinket at the moment with the missing page. So now plus damage on all of Deathstar's tiers. If I'm not mistaken, it's +2 off of the curved horn. I could be wrong. A little bit more money out of that secret room for Slack. And again, both now on their depths 1 here. Deathstar skipped over his item room in the caves. Yep, even on crappy laptops, Zarya knows what's up on that one. Like, it still pops you through every single time. I've never seen it crash. Hand to God, I've never seen it crash. Well, let me take that back. If you're doing a crashing run where you go through every item, yeah, you're going to break the game at some point. We've seen Zero Game Plan, Cobalt Streak, a ton of our other racers do it, so yes, you can break it that way. But when it's loading up a floor is what I'm referring to. You're never going to crash it from that. Slack, by the way, picked up Wooden Spoon, a little bit of speed increase on his side, so he's running around faster now. And again, that is a half a floor advantage for Slack, we'll call at the moment, because he does know where that item room is. Already got it, for that matter. So Deathstar looking for that same item. Also the boss fights here for both. And again, great dodge on Deathstar's side. I have a hard time judging where those green shots are going sometimes. Yeah, we've seen, like, Zero Game Plan had the weirdest one. He was walking through doors in the chest, and it just randomly froze up and crashed his game on him. No reason. He wasn't through all of his items or anything either. He was just walking through a door, and it just, like, boom, you're done. So it'll crash in weird spots, but never on those floor loading screens. It's really bizarre. I've yet to figure that one out. Alright, Mr. Boom, the one-time space use bomb item. Not going to be as useful as those pinking shears again, so yet another useless item on Deathstar's side, and he'll be looking for his boss fight. On into a store on Slack's side, and he's going to have a pretty ridiculously easy fight here against Greed. So again, a little bit more money. Maybe he finds a much better store worthwhile in the caves too. Well, again, not more money, but he's going to save half off on every store from now on with that Steam sale. So maybe now that Depths 2 store doesn't happen to have Greed in it. You've overheated a Mac. I've started a fire in my power supply on a normal PC, so haha. I left the thing running for about 5 days, and apparently it started overheating. Next thing you know, there were flames coming out the back. I'm like, what's that smell? Oh god, it's my computer. Alright, so let's see those Mr. Cools. And again, I don't know I think it's just he put Cobalt in front of everything, but let's see those Mr. Cools if you're a subscriber to Cobalt. Ooh, that was a cheap shot there by that spike trap. Godroom on Slack's side, also going to grab himself the Miter. 50% chance of red heart spawns becoming blue soul hearts for him. And again, he'll be on down to Depths 2 here. And yet another Necropolis floor, so that, as you notice, doesn't show you the number 2 on the side of it. Unlike on Deathstar's side, you see the 1. That is the second floor, though, because we know he just took out Depths 1. Ooh, Death down to half heart. Oh, wasn't quite over that opening enough. Ouch. So Deathstar down to those masks, and that leaves a huge advantage on Slack's side. And looks like he's going to do some gambling here, hoping for a key to get into that item room if he can do it without having to walk back. Alright, Guppy's Paw. Ooh, cheap shot by that bomb there. So again, Guppy's Paw would replace any red heart container you have with 3 soul hearts on Deathstar's side. And no keys, so moving on along here for Slack. Again, really good use of blood rights there. You can actually take out the masses, you notice. It makes those hearts a lot easier to kill for Slack. Well worth a heart of damage. Oh, blood rights is freaking awesome as an item. Like, yeah, you take damage for using it, but it's damn nice. So a little bit more gambling against Slack. Really wants a key for that item room, if not for the store as well. Oh, time for everybody's favorite song on the playlist now. Dad Family Jewels. Alright, possible Scatole there on Slack's side. Nope, not going to wind up with it. That would have been a crown of, well, poop, quite literally. That would have attracted any fly over to Slack, made it his friend, and not done damage to him. Where are the keys at, man? Come on, game. He just wants a key. Aha! That's all he wanted. So we'll finish this gambling. Oh, look at that. Now he gets 3. Where's all the keys at? Right here. There you go. See, reverse commentator curse, kids. It's not always bad. So on into his item room. 10 more bombs for free. Up to 13 now on Slack's side. And he'll be looking for his boss fight to finish off the depths. It's new, therefore it's awesome. I like the theory. Alright, there you see once again blood rights coming in very handy, taking out those masks for Slack. What's up, Flame? How you doing? Oh, God. Well, that's why Slack was really, really happy that he came across that, the Steam sale on the last floor. Every now and then it pays off. immensely. Carry candle, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, third time tonight that thing has shown up. So that candle, oh my. Every 4 seconds that recharges, pops out that blue flame that you see. And again, that does some mass damage. 27, if I'm not mistaken, is what Gambit said when he did his testing. I think it was 27 every time. So that is a huge carry item, especially against Blue Mom. Notice that he just fired that candle into one of the closed doors and continued damaging Mom. That is a great way to do this fight, and you do not have to worry about her spawns this way. 23. I'm sorry, I was close. I was in the 20s. Anyways, a little bit more health up there for Slack. He's going to take the Polaroid with him. If he gets down to half a red heart remaining, every hit thereafter would give him a 5-second damage shield. Yeah, Blue Mom. Well, it was Blue Mom. Again, that candle gets really overpowered against certain enemies, that being one of them. The spider leg dropping down out of the sky is Daddy Longlegs. You get that by beating the Purist challenge. Yeah, we got the Blue Army going on. Blue Mom, we got Blue Gertie Jr., which is just about dead. You see the one soul heart spawning out of there. That's your guarantee off of Gertie Jr. and Larry Jr.'s that are red. Wow. Had to be done. Packed on Deathstar's side. No red hearts remain, but damage up, fire rate increase for him. And he gets 2 soul hearts back out of the 2 red hearts he spent. So kinda sorta Blue Baby over on the right-hand side. Oh, no problem at all, Near. Alright, there's that item room again. Long way back, though, on Deathstar's side. Building a nice start here, though. Yeah, you notice that mass damage off of the blue candle, let alone Daddy Longlegs helping out quite a bit for Slack as well. Got a little bit of damage up because of the chemical peel, and he's looking pretty good for himself health-wise. Name of the remix is Bonnie Ives Guitar Medley, which let me give you a link to Family Jules' channel. Somewhere. Aha, there we go. And on that note, I'd like to point out the tiers on Deathstar's side have become even more overpowered. Yes, sir, ma'am. Oh, if you want the Isaac soundtrack. Make sure I spelled that right. There you go. Danny B's website there, DB Soundworks, or the Bandcamp site, will be able to get you, I think it's for like $2 you can get it on there. But that way it directly supports Danny. You can get it on Steam too. If you buy the game itself, you can wind up getting it along with the game, I think for an extra $1.49. Maybe it's only $1, I kind of forget. But you can get the Steam, or excuse me, the soundtrack on Steam as well. So either way is effective. One just supports Danny more, and hence why we linked that one up. Because Danny's freaking awesome. Actually, all Deathstar needs is, like, the nail or the relic, like, minimally, so you can get some more health at this point. But again, moving on to that first boss fight here in the womb. Had a full clear the entirety of it, but, with that build, not really that big of a time sink in the process. So, Teratoma once again. Notice the Daddy's long leg changed into, Triachnid's leg. Again, that doesn't do any extra damage. It's just a visual thing in boss fights. It is 99 cents on there. Thank you, Dragon. Thank you. I kind of thought it was cheaper, so it's like, I think, half price, basically, on Steam, but more money goes to Danny if you get it through his website. And again, it only being $1, yeah, it's not much extra that goes to him, but it's that much more, so, like I said, we try to help out where credit's due. Where credit is due, you shall receive it, because that's the way it should be. And Danny is, like I said, really awesome, puts together some really awesome music. But again, for those wondering, this is not Danny. This is Family Jewel 7X doing this cover. Clayton, I can answer that with a rhetorical. Is it a day that ends in Y? If yes, then yes. Think about it like programming. Does the day end in Y? Yes? Then yes, it is. I keep throwing money at my screen, but Danny just keeps blocking it somehow and throwing it right back at me. It's like he lives here. Maybe he's stalking me. That'd be great. Which brings me to another point. I made a promise that if Lockcat can get himself into the finals, I'll make Danny go into his channel, so I need to find a way to make Danny go into Lockcat's channel should he get to the finals. Just thought I'd point that promise out, too. So, just so it's out there, I was being legit, Lockcat. I'll find a way, dude. Ooh, and just like that, Slack has found himself Mom's Heart Fight here, so getting through the womb, too, in very fast order. Again, that blue candle every 4 seconds is what's doing it for him. But Slack looking for a 2-0 victory, looking for that 14th win of the season. Oh, you cap a Lockcat. I'm serious. I'm neckbearding that. I'm dead serious. Alright, so like I said, Slack moving on in. We're going to see the, most likely, the double bomb technique here. He'll finish this off, drop... Oh, he's actually only going to do one and then just do his blue candle for the second. There's that double bomb technique. So you wind up getting double hits on Mom, if you can get the timing just right. He missed on the Knight right there. But again, plenty of bombs left. Just a little bit more damage for Slack to do. He can stand perfectly still if he wanted to. Deathstar down again as he already knows what's up. He's just sitting back watching the end of this one because he knows that blue candle, man. These two builds on Slack's side. Oh, one more thing. There we go. Thankfully, he had Daddy Longlegs. He saw it, though, either way. But nicely done. A 2-0 victory yet again.